as we earlier talked about women as a driving force in society, how important is the role of women in development and in pushing forward the wheel of production as a main partner in life. Very delighted over this topic to be having with us live Dr. Maha Mahgoub, the human development expert and consultant. Good morning, Dr. Mahgoub.
Good morning.
And happy Ramadan Kareem to you.
Ramadan Kareem to you and the whole Islamic world.
Okay, thank you so much. Why is March considered notably for women? I mean, it is very expressive when it comes to talking about women. Usually in March, you have a lot of topics to deliver about women.
Yes, actually, Egypt has been chosen the March 16 as the National Day of Egyptian Women for many reasons. For example, in March 1919, the activist Hoda Sha'rawi and 300 other women demonstrated against British colonization, holding flags of crescent and cross. At the same time, on that day, in 1919, British soldiers killed 60 Egyptian women who protested the British occupation. Moreover, in March 16, in 19, as well, the same day of March 16, 1923, Hoda Sha'rawi formed the first ever federation of women calling for social and political equality. On the same day, in 1928, the first group of Egyptian women enrolled in Cairo University. Also, Egyptian women were given the right to vote and run for election in March 16.
Right. So a lot of activities and a lot of successes were registered in history by women. And not only in that particular era, but thousands and thousands of years before, women have set their feet on the path of success. Also talking about building on that, how do you think the role of women is capable of taking development to a whole new level? I mean, like you kindly mentioned, the many successes by many names over the years and how history have registered them as graceful and glorious names in the book of history. There are current people, women, in decision-making positions, I mean, innovative women, inspiring stories about women who are the driving force of different successes. Talk to us about it in detail.
Yes, actually, for the current time, we have seen that women empowerment took a great place, and it's a golden era for women in many areas, politically, economically, socially, and she has been empowered by the state, by the direction of the President Sisi. For example, women empowerment in the parliament, we can find a huge number of women has been nominated to be parliament delegate. Ministers, we have a lot of Egyptian women ministers. Economically, we have economic. For example, here in Egypt, we find that the Ministry of Planning, headed by Dr. Hala Saeed, she is a role model of women empowerment and leading the direction of how to empower women in all levels. So we have many samples of Egyptian women as a role model, could be considered these days as a role model to be empowered by the state, and we are proud of them.
Right. Do you think, in spite of all those calibers, excuse me, all those calibers that we possess, I mean, those inspiring women, those inspiring characters and ambitious ideas by those women, and the initiatives taken each by each character in its own field, do you think the gains that they gained, I mean, were they appreciated the right way, or we still have a long way to go?
Yes, of course. We have many initiatives here in Egypt headed by Egyptian women. For example, in several societies, maybe we can find some NGOs, for example, Businesswomen of Association, headed by Dr. Yomna Sharidi, and the other one headed by Ms. Hoda Yassa. They are leaders in women in Egypt for empowering other women and presenting Egyptian women in locally and internationally by holding some programs, training, seminars, conferences, and these initiatives gives a push to other Egyptian women to let them put them in the right direction and how to start, for example, their own business, how to have a good network with other peers all over the world.
Right. What about initiatives and civil work or civil society? I mean, women in civil society are a majority. They outweigh the number of men. How do you justify that particular field is holding that huge successive number of women, and based on their activities, based on how they are effective in that particular measure? Explain to us the role of women in civil society and how effective is it to the whole community?
Yes, here in Egypt, women, some businesswomen or not businesswomen, they are holding many projects in civil society, and as well, it's not just here in Egypt, but as well internationally as well. So we have many initiatives in civil society organized, and it's licensed here in Egypt, in the Arab Republic of Egypt, and maybe we can find a large of Egyptian women has many initiatives to boost and to boost other women in the society. For example, education initiatives. Some NGOs they are directing in Egyptolese literacy in education, providing health assistance in other societies. For example, we have initiatives called Dawi. It's a good initiative held by the Miss Dr. Intisar, just to empower women.
By the First Lady.
Yes,
right?
First Lady of Egypt, to just empower women in Egypt, how to let girls have their voice by exchanging ideas, seminars, and meetings between other peers, just to push and empower other women here in Egypt.
Right. Since you mentioned the Egyptian administration, and in particular Mrs. Intisar, Her Excellency, the First Lady, Mrs. Intisar Sisi, she has adopted a lot of initiatives. She's giving all her concerns and focus to develop with women issues and also listen to their worries and address their problems and alleviate their difficulties in life and support and empower their status. Of course, Mrs. Intisar Sisi have come a long way, but also President Abdel Fattah Sisi have launched several initiatives that really succeeded in empowering women in the past few years.
Yes, many initiatives have been arised by President Abdel Fattah Sisi. Just maybe, for example, health initiatives for detecting early diseases for women. It's a free of charge, of course. Women cannot pay anything for these initiatives. And maybe Haya Karima just targeting rural women with a high percentage of poverty, such as Haya Karima, and how to facilitate the life for most of women in Egypt by providing decent house, decent life, good education for their families. So many initiatives have been arrived by the President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
Right. Do you think that most of the initiatives addressing women by the civil society have succeeded in fulfilling all their needs, Egyptian women needs?
Yes, of course, along with the presidential initiatives as well, most of the Egyptian women leaders are providing many initiatives to the other women, and of course it's successful. And it's not the state responsibility only, but it's aligned with national and international NGOs just to have a clear direction for women, how to boost and empower other women by these initiatives.
Right. But also, what do you think is the most difficult or the most important issue that we need to work on still? I mean, needs a lot of work on our way to develop in the future when it comes to women difficulties or challenges. What is the most pressing challenge for women for the coming years to achieve?
Actually we have many challenges here in Egypt, such as in education. So it's important to reduce the percentage of female literacy, increasing the percentage of employed women below the poverty, and increasing the percentage of women in parliament. We need to spend more intensively on education and literacy. And if more money will be spent on Egyptian women, that will attain a high level of social equality, which will result in a reduction of poverty rates and for both men and women. So as for many pillars here in Egypt for women empowerment, that we can have a clear objective how to empower women, how to overcome the weaknesses that they face, and each objective has a clear key performance indicator, and of course all of these should be aligned about with the Egyptian Vision 2030.
Right. Women, of course, women and men. Let's give them, men also give men credit as symbols of sacrifices, as we've seen martyrs from the army and on different causes everywhere, worldwide, not only in Egypt. But also when it comes to sacrifices, mothers are symbols, the best symbol for sacrifices, not in its very official meaning, but sacrifices when they come in the sense of sacrifices their efforts, their lives, their happiness, everything for their siblings and for children, especially single moms. I mean, single moms or a single woman who faces all the challenges of life and livelihood and everything, expenses for their kids, and raising up kids with all the problems of life, facing all these challenges alone is a huge symbol of sacrifice. So where do you see, good example of sacrifices for Egyptian single women in that source?
Yes, actually, for the time being, as a result of high percentage of divorce, we find that single women they have a big number of single women, householded women, and she is sacrificing in order to keep her children in a good educational level. They have a good social standard, and she is sacrificing with her happiness in order to look after her children. So maybe here in Egypt, maybe we can find more than 30% of householded women who look after their children, and she has a great responsibility in working, finding a good resources, financial resources in order to sustain her life with her children. And along of the year, maybe you can find many symbols of women who sacrifice with their lives. For example, Safia Zaghloul, is a unusual symbol known as the mother of Egyptians. And a woman in history will never forget Safia Zaghloul. and she is a good symbol of sacrificed women and supported women, participated in the 1919 revolution along with men in the first time, which was inspired by leader Saad Zaghloul.
Right. So, what was the theme for International Women's Day for 2024 for this year, and why exactly was it chosen that theme?
Yes, the theme of the Women's Day indeed, and this year is inclusion. So the inclusion here it becomes that it's inclusion, inspire inclusion. When inspire others understand and value women inclusion, we have a good, better world. So the theme here now, just how to include women, all people in all levels in one direction, one objective. So the inspiring inclusion is very important. Therefore, in 2024, the theme of Women's Day is inspiring inclusions with women, men all over the world should be aligned together.
How important is inclusion for the cause of women independence and women progress and women's, expanding the role of women in society? How exactly is inclusion going to add to the gravity of that role?
Yes, it's very important to have inclusion these days, and women themselves are inspired to be included in their life, and their sense of belonging, relevance, and empowering, and of course, it's a campaign for women, not only here in Egypt but all over the world. How to be included in the workforce, how to be included in life, how to empower women and to have a good voice for her to be a good part in the society and a good partner beside the men, just to boost and empower the society and the national level.
Right, and mentioning inclusion, we need also to give credit for President Abdel Fattah Sisi in empowering that idea of inclusion when it comes to the cause of empowering women with inclusion. How far do you see our president have shared or have empowered the idea of inclusion to women's society?
Yes, actually, as one of the SDGs goals, just is gender equality and inclusion. And President Sisi just recognized as one of the National Strategy 2030 women empowerment and how to include women in the society, and it has been a good directions and. Since 2016, to how to empower women and have a good gender equality. President Fattah Sisi just set a general policy in the field of women inclusion and developing women affairs, and to enable them to perform their political, economic, social, cultural role, and to integrate the effort into comprehensive development program. So the national plan of advancement of women and how to be included and solving their problems. So and coordination with the government agencies that implemented the developed programs, activities, and projects for women that approved for the national plans and cooperation, especially in inclusion part.
Right, of course, Dr. Maha Mahgoub, the human development expert and consultant. I'd like to thank you so much, and you have a good day. Now we're going to go to a short break and we'll come to continue the breakfast show, so stay with us.